Philippine criminal justice system. Institutions that uphold peace and order had been developed and established by the Filipino government. If a person is found guilty of a crime by a court of law, they must be imprisoned in order to be rehabilitated and reintegrate into society as law-abiding citizens. These institutions are responsible for preventing crimes, enforcing laws, apprehending and prosecuting those who violate the law. To create a criminal justice system, these organizations created by the government have merged themselves.
Philippine Criminal Justice System. Criminal justice system defined is the machinery of the state or government which enforces the rules of conduct necessary to protect life, liberty, property, and maintain peace and order. Criminal justice system is the state response to crime. However, it is not totally to speak of the criminal justice system. A system is an interactive, interrelated, interdependent group of elements performing related functions that make up a complex whole. The criminal justice system is a loose confederation of agencies that perform different functions and independently funded, managed, and operated. It is composed of police or law enforcement pillar, prosecution or fiscal pillar, court pillar, correction pillar, and community pillar.
Of criminal justice system. The criminal justice system essentially is the system of process or community by which crime are investigated and the persons suspected thereof are taken into custody, prosecution in court, and punished if found guilty, provisions being made for their correction and rehabilitation. The criminal justice system is the network of government and private agencies intended to manage accused and convicted criminals. The criminal justice system is comprised of multiple related pillars consisting of academia, law enforcement, forensic services, the judiciary, and corrections. These pillars are fashioned to support the ideals of legal justice. Legal justice is the result of forging the rights of individuals with a government corresponding duty to ensure and protect those rights referred to as due process. These constitutional entitlements cannot be given and protected without the abiding of commitments of those professionals working in the criminal justice system. Consequently, such professionals must submit themselves to the ethical principles of the criminal justice system and evidence persistent integrity in their character. This accomplished with the help of a worthy code of professional ethics that signal competences, reliability, accountability, and overall trustworthiness when properly administered.
The five pillars of criminal justice system. We have the law enforcement pillar, the prosecution pillar, the courts pillar, the correction pillar, and the community pillar. The law enforcement pillar, their works consist of the prevention and control of crimes. Prosecution pillar, conduct preliminary investigation of case filed in the prosecutor's office. The court pillar adjudicates cases, render judgment. The correction pillar concerned with the custody, supervision, and rehabilitation of criminal offenders. The community pillar promotes goodness or improve human equality of life, community well-being.
The role of law enforcement pillar. First is to enforce all laws and ordinances relative to the protection of lives and properties. Second, maintain peace and order and take all necessary steps to ensure public safety. Third, investigate and prevent crimes, effect the arrest of criminal offenders, bring offenders to justice and assist in their prosecution. Fourth, exercise the general powers to make arrest, search, and seizure in accordance with the Constitution and pertinent laws. Fifth, detain an arrested person for a period not beyond what is prescribed by law, and informing the person so detained of all his rights under the Constitution. The function and best practices of law enforcement pillar. Law enforcement pillar is preventive and deterrent activity. It consists of patrolling to supervise conduct, investigating to identify offenders, and or recover stolen or missing property, warning or arresting those who are probably guilty of criminal behavior, and assisting in the prosecution and trial of offenders. Its goals are all aimed towards the prevention of crime and disorder, preservation of peace, and the protection of life, property, and individual freedom. The Philippine National Police, or PNP, and the National Bureau of Investigation, or NBI, spearhead the law enforcement function.
The sections illustrates the main characteristics of the role of prosecutors in the society, and it introduces students to the concepts of prosecutorial independence and impartiality. Public prosecutors performs a crucial role in society. They are the gatekeepers of criminal justice. And so far as without their initiatives, there cannot be the prosecutions and repressions of crimes. Prosecutions service are, in fact, society principles means of pursuing punishments of criminal behaviors and its interface with the adjudicative power. Only cases that are brought to courts by public prosecutors that can process and adjudicated by judges. The role of prosecutors has also evolved considerably, reflecting the growing international dimensions of crimes phenomena, such as organized crimes and corruptions. National criminal justice systems have proven to be insufficient and or ineffective with respect to international and transnational crime. The need for certain international cooperations and investigations and prosecutions activities has led prosecutors to seek to transcend national borders. This has confronted prosecutors with new difficult challenges and has made the prosecutor's duties and responsibilities increasingly complex. Thus, the efficient and effective prosecutions increasingly requires that prosecutors' activities be to varying degrees coordinated with those of other prosecutors' offices, also at the international and regional level.
The rules and function of the third pillar of the Philippine criminal justice system is the court pillar. It is the forum where the prosecution is given the opportunity to prove that there is a strong evidence of guilt against the accused. Court provides justice in response to a range of criminal, non-criminal, and social matters. Justice options can include punishment, treatment, and focus on rehabilitation, or a combination of these two options.
The fourth pillar is the pillar of corrections. It takes over once the accused has been found. He receives the penalty for the offense he committed. Isolation could be used as punishment of the convicted by incarceration for the terms specified by the courts, or in extreme cases, execution via the means prescribed by law. The corrections pillar includes the Bureau of Corrections, the Board of Pardons and Parole, and the Parole and Probation Administration, all of which are Department of Justice agencies. The Bureau's primary responsibility corrections is the rehabilitation of prisoners so that they can rejoin society after serving their sentences. The Board of Pardons and Parole makes recommendations to the President on prisoners who are eligible for parole, pardon, or other forms of executive clemency. The Probation Administration oversees all parolees and probationers and works to promote
correction, and rehabilitation.
The community pillar has an unparalleled role as the fifth pillar in the criminal justice system. In this connection, community is understood the means as elementi that are mobilized and energized to help authorities in effectively addressing the law and order concern of the citizenry. In defining three distinct pillars of our citizen engagement, the community pillar relates to activity that intended to promote goodness, improve human quality of life, community well-being. It helps us to be responsible member to our society, being law-abiding citizen. Community pillar is helping all offenders to realize their bad works, to become a good model to our society. Through this, our community will have peace and can prevent and decrease the cases of crime to our society.
And I am going to address one of the problem in the criminal justice system in the Philippines, which is overcrowded prison. Many Filipinos are too poor to access justice. As a result, the poor do not file cases knowing they are unable to afford a lawyer, and it will take years for their case to get resolved because of a clogged judicial and court system. Overcrowded prisons are the most visible problem plaguing the correctional facilities. The issue of overcrowding in prison is a complex problem that requires a multifaceted approach to address. Here are some potential solutions that could help alleviate the overcrowding in Philippine prisons. Number 1. Increasing funding for the justice system. The Philippine government should allocate more resources towards the justice system to improve the infrastructure of the correctional facilities and increase the number of judges, public prosecutor, and public defenders. Implement sentencing reforms. The government could consider implementing sentence reforms such as shorter sentence for non-violent offenses or alternatives to imprisonment, such as community service or electronic monitoring. Number 3, promote restorative justice. Restorative justice focuses on repairing the harm caused by crime and could be implemented through community-based program, which would reduce the number of people who are incarcerated and provided more support to those affected by crime. Number 4, improve prison condition. Overcrowding is often caused by inadequate prison facilities. The Philippine government should work to improve prison condition, including providing better healthcare, nutrition, and hygiene, as well as increasing access to educational and vocational programs for prisoners. Enhance parole and probation systems. The Philippine government could also consider expanding parole and probation programs to help reduce the number of people who are incarcerated and help individuals transition back into society. Promote criminal justice reforms. The government could also promote reforms in the criminal justice system, including ensuring fair trials, reducing pre-trial detention, and promoting alternatives to incarceration for minor offenses. Overall, addressing the problem of overcrowding in Philippines prisons will require a comprehensive approach that involves increasing funding for justice system, implementing sentencing and criminal justice reforms, and improving prison conditions among others initiatives. That's all. Thank you.